Morning. It's Tuesday, October 14th. I'm Bob Ryan, and welcome to this week's Sports Buzz about upsets and exciting games. This past week provided all kinds of upsets and exciting games. Let's start close to home with Mizzou as we look at our first topic. The Mizzou game is a very, very tight and exciting game, no question about it. Let's start close to home with a closer look at that game. Tigers fell to Alabama 27-24 in a game that went right down to the final minute of the game and snapped the Tigers' 15 home game winning streak. Please keep in mind that includes this very soft non-conference games that MU opened the season with to prolong that streak. Bama flipped a switch on Mizzou. Instead of MU playing controlled football, Alabama kept the football for 38 minutes and 33 seconds. That's in a 60-minute game, including a 9-minute drive in the third quarter. Bama scored just 3:16 left in the fourth quarter to push the lead to 27-17 when Daniel Hill extended Alabama's lead on a 1-yard run, capping off an 8-play, 40-yard drive while twice converting fourth down plays into first downs. MU did score with a minute 39 remaining in the game, but ran out of time. While this wasn't an upset, it was a very, very exciting game. Nonetheless, it was a game that MU, from my view, really needed to make themselves into a top-notch, highly rated top 10 team in the country. In the mighta, coulda, shoulda world, there's probably tons of talk about Mizzou staying close, making it a good game, or maybe even winning. But in the real world of sports, it's a loss, plain and simple, no way around it. Alabama held the Tigers' top running back, Ahmad Hardy, to a very, very modest 52 yards rushing. And it's hard to have your leading rusher 52 yards that makes your team a very one-dimensional offense against the strongest teams. And that's a tough way to win. Now, after hosting 6 straight home games at Mizzou, they hit the road next week for its first of 4 road games of the year. Maybe in 2026, the MU hierarchy will flip the switch and schedule at least one road pre-conference game to help prepare the team for the conference road games. One of the major goals is to win the conference, not establish an unbeaten record in the first month of the season against very modest, and I'm being very kind to call them modest, competition in all of your home field prior to the SEC play beginning in action. The biggest upset of the week was probably Indiana, topping number 3 Oregon 30-20. This abrupt turnaround at Indiana is due to head coach Curt Cignetti. Cignetti climbed his way up the coaching ladder with stops at IUP, Elon, James Madison, establishing winning programs at each of those schools. He has some simple to understand, not always to enforce, ideas to build a program. Yet Cignetti had to wait until he was 62 years old to get his first job at a Power 4 position at Indiana. And basketball at Indiana's king, not football. So this was a big jump for him. Does that make you wonder, are colleges looking for the wrong things when they're choosing a football head coach? Next topic. Cignetti established a culture that builds confidence for individually and for the team, creating a new identity and demanding, without exception, accountability. All the time with high energy, he provides himself. His production over potential approach is a wonderful tool for team building. Doesn't matter how you were recruited, how do you produce? Several times, those approaches have led to unknown, unproven players getting on the field, prior to the highly touted recruits or even the returning players. So for the first time in a long, long time, in his second year, Indiana sports fans aren't talking basketball in October, but football. And another upset, this time between two longtime rivals. Texas upset previously unbeaten Oklahoma 23-6. Texas is now 5-0. Texas used a dominant defensive performance that forced 3 interceptions and allowed a modest 258 total yards. Texas also got some key plays from the offense at appropriate times as the go-ahead TD pass from Arch Manning sealed the game after an exciting 75-yard punt return by Ryan Niblett. The Longhorns defense limited the Sooners to just 258 yards. And I might add, this was a big game for Arch Manning, who has struggled in his first few games as a freshman. Coming up big in this big game will do a lot for his confidence and for the team. Switching sports for a moment. Yes, the MLB season ended a long, long time ago in St. Louis, but the MLB really is still in action, and with very exciting action. In the National League, the Dodgers swept the Reds 2-0 in their series. Heck, Cincinnati was the third best team in the National League Central Division, yet they made the playoffs. What does that say about the Central Division? 3 teams making the playoffs. Who still says National League Central is the weakest division? Who knows? Then, the Dodgers continued its winning ways with an upset win over number 2 seed Philadelphia. It was a very exciting comeback win for the Dodgers. Dodgers' 2-1 win in Game 4 of the NLDS in the 11th inning was due to a walk-off error by Phillies reliever Orion Kerkering. Here was the situation. With the bases loaded and 2 outs, Kerkering mishandled a ground ball back to him, then made a wild throw home, allowing a winning run to score. Boy, that sounds like Little League to me. Excitement of the game probably caused the hurried throw and the upset win for LA. Meanwhile, on the other wild card series, the Cubs beat San Diego 2-1. In that divisional series, the Cubs took the Brewers to the limit 5 games before they fell to Milwaukee 3-2. Seemed only right since Milwaukee was clearly the best NL team throughout 2025. But it did have its excitement and emotion throughout the series. Postseason alone brings emotion to all the games. During the regular course of 162 games, sometimes the players have a hard time getting psyched up, getting emotional for a regular season game. In addition to these two cities being just 90 miles apart, so there's a natural geographical rivalry. But Milwaukee's manager, Craig Counsell, left Milwaukee to go to wear a Cubs hat this year. But emotions aside, you can't blame him for changing hats. Milwaukee paid him $3 million a year to manage. Not bad. But the Cubs signed him to a 5-year, $40 million contract. Now, would any of you have said no to that change? If you're like me, I doubt it. Footnote here, Cubs signing symbolizes what a team does that is really wanting to win a championship. Just like when the Cardinals signed Tony La Russa prior to 1996 season with the intentions of having the right man to lead their team to championships. Unfortunately, sadly, that's not the case any longer in St. Louis. Next topic, in the American League, the stunning shock of the New York Yankees entering postseason as a wild card team, not a division champion, seemed to elude most sports fans, as it did me. Since the Blue Jays held an 8-5 winning record against the Yanks in 2025, and the teams tied for first place, Toronto held the home team advantage in its wild card series. Then, adding insult to injury, Toronto edged the Bronx Bombers 3-1 in the series, not even having to play all 5 games. The recipe for success was very simple. Swing only at strikes and don't take strikes. Swing and make contact. It worked. Toronto swung at strikes only, and the Blue Jays made a ton of contact. They put the ball in play. It's what they do. No team has a lower strikeout rate this postseason. There wasn't anything new. Toronto had the 5th lowest strikeout rate in the MLB season in 2025. They also scored the 4th most runs in the 2025 regular seasons. Few strikeouts, more runs. Seems like there's correlation there. It's a good, solid, dependable offense. In the postseason, Toronto struck out only 15% of the time. That was by far the best of any team in a divisional series. Clearly the best in the postseason and significantly below the 23% strikeout average of the MLB. And it makes for much more exciting baseball for fans and players. Next topic. So what about that really good approach? Can we find anything from the division series that may be applicable during the ALCS or perhaps even the World Series? Checking out a stat in this year's postseason, for one thing, the Jays were anxious to swing at strikes, lots of them. More than 7 out of every 10 pitches in the strike zone, 71.1% to be exact, resulted in Toronto swinging. Who won the series? The Blue Jays. Why take a strike and permit the pitcher to get ahead in that count? When that happens, the pitcher has the door open to a much wider range of pitches using all of his repertoire, which seemingly should make it tougher for batter to get hits. Given that, the only way you can really look at the historical context of a strikeout rate is to compare it to the average for that year, which gives you a nice moving baseline. Now we're going to get somewhere. Dating back to 1913, when this data was very first established, the current Jays postseason run features the second best strikeout rate compared to the average of 1913 season. The way to read this, the Blue Jays struck out only 66% as much as the average postseason team in 2025. They put the ball in play. Check out the lowest ERA adjusted postseason team strikeout rate. 100 is the average. The lower the percentage I'm going to give you, the better it is for the team. Here are some of the postseason team's percentages. 63% for the Twins in 2006. They're the best. 66% 2025 Blue Jays. That was this year, second best. 72% 1976 Phillies. 73% 1976 Yankees. 74% 1980 Astros. The Jays striking out this little in the ALDS was the 7th best team of all time in postseason. Some other exciting baseball stats on how to win baseball games. First of all, teams that hit more home runs than their opponent in a game will have 82.3% chance of winning. Teams that strike out fewer times than their opponents have a 64% chance of winning. Teams that do both, that is, more homers and strike out fewer, have a 90% win percentage. Is it possible to lose a game where you can hit more homers and strike out fewer times? Yeah, but it's very rare. And any combination of anything you can do that will have you winning 9 of 10 times, you'll take in a heartbeat. But you'll have to do both. Moving on, next topic. We're going to have to put the ball in place and manager John Schneider during the ALDS. We've done it over the course of the year. I think the home runs are a byproduct of a really good approach against specific pitchers and that we're really focused at this time of year. It was an exciting week of sports. Let's hope for more of the same this week. Thanks for you taking your time to listen to the Buzz, and your thoughts are always invited on any of the topics. You can post them right on my Facebook page, Bob Ryan. Thank you very much, and have a good week.